Howdy, everybody. Welcome to FMA Discussion. This is episode 373, and I apologize. We were originally going to do this tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, but it just so happened sometimes when I get on these guys, the test runs go pretty long. They actually kind of turn into a show in itself. So we decided we were just do it tonight. GM Ray Floro got home early and from an interview, and so we just decided let's just kick it off tonight. So if you haven't seen a flyer, was GM Ilustrisimo a good teacher? And somebody apparently had submitted this to Paulo. He posted, obviously he didn't give the person's name and all that, but of course you got the flooding of the comments and people trying to justify this and that, and obviously GM Ilustrisimo was an incredible teacher. Let's look at the offspring and the offshoot from him. Obviously we've got the 5 pillars, but in addition, GM Romeo, okay, under that Ray Floro. Now let's look at Tommy Dye. Let's look at Pedro Reyes. Now let's look at guys under Edgar, David Gould. If you don't think David Gould's KI is, go to Lake Mississippi. Do bring a hand protector because you will need it if you want to continue to like use your hand the next day for basic writing or anything like that. Roger Abulis. I mean, come on. So that, for example, we look at Ricketts, Brandon, and you know what the best kept known secrets is? Brandon's older brother, Bruce. Yeah. And then it just goes on. Obviously, Tony Diego, Tommy Dye, Arnold. Yuli, I can't speak of his top guys, so I'm not going to go venture to say that. Regalong, same thing. I can't speak on that. So I'm sure they both have top guys. But the bottom line is, if you were to look at the top guys in FMA, past and present, a lot of them are from Ilustrisimo, either directly or indirectly. So obviously, in my opinion, Ilustrisimo, while maybe he didn't actually teach per se, but also a lot of people forget the vast volume of the video library by Brandon Ricketts, which I've seen a lot of it. And the development of Ilustrisimo, like the Estrella drill and all that. And a lot of these folks care to say like, well, he didn't, like, well, if you haven't seen Brandon's video collection way back then, from what the footage he has, it cracks me up that these people even have an opinion and all that. And I just want to tap myself on the shoulder. I've taken the time to change Jim Yuli. I have Ray Floro's videos. I have Romeo's videos. I've channeled under David Gould for the Mako version, obviously Brandon Ricketts, and through Vico and all that, I've seen a lot of the Kiro and all there. So I can speak fairly on this. But without further ado, let's get our guests up here, which are Paulo Rubio, social media giant, and the clientele, GM Ray Floro. Let's bring them up.
Oh, God.
All right. Hi, guys. How you doing? So this is impromptu. We're just going to kick it off tonight. And just where the pieces fall, they fall. Why not?
Dean, you got to stop introducing me as a social media giant, man. Come on. That's kind of embarrassing.
Well, geez, 100,000.
Bro.
Truth hurts. The truth.
Hey,
I'm like the Kanye West of me.
So how you guys doing?
Good, thanks.
Good. So so you guys know the title. So you guys know it. Somebody sent something to Paulo. He posted it, and then we got a flooding of comments. And I thought some of them were well articulated, particularly Burton's and you, Jam Ray. Some of them were just chiming in just to chime in that really had no business in chiming in, to be quite honest. And some of them were showcasing really their own journey and really making it about themselves as opposed to addressing the subject. So in your opinion, Jam Ray, like your opinion, GM Ilustrisimo, why was he a great teacher in his own way?
Okay, number one, he was the perfect instructor for me. Okay, I used to like the structured drill, and that's what led me to Lameko. That's why I like Lameko. When I first learned Lameko, it was Screamer 1, Screamer 2, Screamer 3. I love the structure. But then when you get to sparring, it's hard to apply pre-arranged strikes. What I liked about GM Illustrissimo is his stuff is not pre-arranged. It's all random. Even the teaching is random. He will do a strike, and then you'll counter it. But then the next strike, you'll say, "Look, can I see that strike again?" But you'll hit it, but he'll do a different technique because his hand didn't start there now. His hand is lower. But learning from Illustrissimo, you actually didn't learn techniques. You learned principles and strategy, mainly distance, timing, broken rhythm. And it didn't matter to him how you executed it. I mean, if you look at all, I'll call them tribes rather than factions, the one in Luneta, Romy Macapagals, Yuli Ramos, myself, we all teach differently. We all move quite differently. But if you watch any of us move, it's unmistakable that there is a Illustrissimo flavor.
You could find an Illustrissimo.
So even though, there's flavor to it. Mm-hmm. It may not be the exact technique, but it's Illustrissimo. It's just the way he taught. Everything was fighting based. Everything was sparring based. And I learned well like that. I can do the Hubad drills. I can do some Rada drills. It's nice, but I don't think it really helps me in sparring because, number one, you're actually at the wrong range. Number two, you get into this rhythm where in reality you have to break that rhythm. Number two, it's a feeding drill. So the way I strike, I have to strike wide so that you can do the techniques. Whereas with Illustrissimo, everything's nice and tight. So if I do a strike, you have no arm to latch onto. It's all blade. So he's a good instructor in that focused on combat. He focused on fighting. His techniques weren't a feeding-based art.
Which you're seeing
always combat. So it's
in some regards.
You see it countless times.
Yeah.
And what I like about Tatang is he's really consistent. If you watch every film clip that he's ever done, he moves exactly the same way. Whereas you see people teach techniques a certain way, and when it comes to sparring, they actually do different things. That's not what you taught, Whereas Tatang was very consistent. The only thing is you have to learn how to learn from him. You have to be really observant. Okay? A circular strike, it's not a circular strike. If you change the timing, that turns into a fake, then counter, rather than a straight circular strike. It can be, but if you pause it a little, then accelerate it, that becomes a fake to a counter. You see?
I'm gonna get to Paulo, but it's funny, when I did the KI theme episodes and just from training with all these different people, it's I think it was vantage points. Like when you were training them, like where were you? Like where did you see? Were you in back of them? Were you on the side of them? Were you on an angle? You know what I mean? And then of course,
exactly right.
Yeah, when Ricketts got, of course, the camcorder, the ultimate video, and all that being on there. So I think depending on what you saw and where you saw it from, I think there was right there. I think there was some interpretation.
See, sometimes the video doesn't capture it because it'll be a side-on view, and that's what it looks like side-on.
Yeah.
But front-on
really,
view,
maybe you saw
and the angle will change here, or the angle changes there. Whereas on this angle, it's just an up and down thing. Whereas front-on, you're kind of going all sorts of angles.
Yeah.
All sorts of angles.
Yeah, I agree. So
that's why when people watch it first up, say, "Oh, there's no magic in it. It's simple." Yes, it is simple, but it's subtle. It's
subtly simple. Yeah.
And the change is not from here to there. The change is from here just there. Because remembering, you go to this side, all you need to do is do this, and you're already on the other side. The big mistake people do now is they go this side, then they loop over the side.
Yeah,
Remember,
and
the
then,
blade's only that thin.
while
So
they're doing that, they're also
all you
creating
need
a gap of their lower forearm.
Yeah, that's all you need to do is do that
Yeah.
to get to the side, which is really subtle. A successful strike is when your opponent doesn't even know what you did, and they get hit on. They think they're going to get hit side, they get hit on this side. Thinking, how did that happen? Because the changes are subtle, and the changes is during the strike. It's not 1, 2, 3. It's 1, 1, 1, and you only saw that through repetition and really observing it. The nice thing is when I was learning, usually Tatang was there, then GM Romy was there, GM Tony was there, Tupa was there. Person would be feeding, and the other 4 would be discussing what's been happening. And so some person would do that, oh, you do that. And then you'd ask him, Tang, what did you do? He wouldn't answer. I just did this.
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't really help.
GM, do you think
we're seeing it, but you're not?
Do you think he taught that way because that's how he was, or do you think it was a purposeful? Oh, I think I'm going to teach that way.
I think it's just how he was. Okay, number one, he didn't hide anything. Okay, that was the thing. He's very generous. I mean, I've had students where they've hid things, and I've just them out said that's useless. No, I think that's the way he learned. Because if you look at old things, the old school, it's like do this. No, not that. But do this. It's like that's what I'm doing. No, it's wrong. Just do that. There's no.
I got a question.
It's just like it.
Just from the outside vantage point, looking in, like you've seen some of the videos, you caught some of the episodes. Like, what is your lens, or what's your opinion on him as a teacher? Just again from all the sources folks that you've spoken to, videos, the interviews. I mean, what's your take?
My take
for me, yeah.
No, from an outsider, right? So you must be. You're addressing this to me, right, Dean? I don't want to.
Yeah, absolutely correct.
I think he's an amazing human being. I think that as GM Floro said, it takes a particular kind of student to learn from a particular kind of teacher, right? I learned that way, and I think, first of all, the post. If I may just read it.
No, go ahead.
And again, this is not something that I wrote. This is something that I chose to share. And then the accompanying text that I wrote was good question. And I think a lot of people missed the question, and then they focused on this person's opinion. And it reads like
it got emotional and subjective.
Yeah. So it reads like this. Tatang was an amazing fighter, but one of the worst teachers I've ever met. I think people focused on that. But here's the question. Here's where I was hoping we would revolve the conversation around. He continues, none of the old KI guys had any background in teaching or coaching, so why would we assume they somehow mastered that skill? So, and I think it's a fair question if we really boil it down. And GM Floro alluded to it, right? You said that the way he taught was perfect for you. And I think the reason you said it was perfect for you is because it isn't perfect for everyone. Right?
Correct.
And so the question really was asking was that why should we assume that everyone who teaches KI from that generation has got it, has mastered that skill? That was the question. That's what I was hoping we would focus around. Instead, they sort of focused on this guy's opinion, which, it was out of context, was incomplete. And it's okay. It's okay to have an opinion of someone that you love that doesn't match your own opinion of that person, right? Like that's fine. And I think at the root of this, and somebody like,
not everyone who learned from them had got it. I mean, the grandmasters, I think they've got it.
Right.
But not everyone who's learned after that got it. They may have learned the motions,
Right.
but they didn't understand it. And it comes across inspiring. You see, if you look at the way they spar, if they hit, the technique could be right, but the timing is off, the distance is off, they're missing, they're double killing, they didn't get it.
Yeah.
That's why sparring is important.
So, to answer your question, Dean,
you're dealing with blades. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Jam. To answer your question, what's my impression of Tatang Ilustrisimo? It's clear to me that so many people want so desperately to attach themselves to his name and his legacy.
Yeah, it's true.
And
so there must be something.
I can't argue that. I can't even come up with something to counter that just by seeing on social media.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like a phenomenon, it's
right. And so why do they want to attach themselves and propose themselves to be protectors of his legacy? When you kind of do a little bit of digging, you're like, okay, well, you have the selfie, you have the cool photo, but it's clear who was there. There's a family tree.
Yeah.
You're not on the family tree. Like, okay, that's one.
Yeah.
Right. And
like in Australia, in my city, there's one guy teaching colors illustration. I don't know him, never met, but good luck to him.
Right. And so how does that make you feel, Jim Floro, that so many people want so desperately to attach their names and their livelihoods to having spent time with Tatang Ilustrisimo? It must, if I were you, I would be upset at these people. I wouldn't feel like their family. I would feel like they're leeches just trying to profit off of a man's name and legacy.
Yes and no. Number one, I feel good that everybody does attach it, which means everybody respects the old man. Everybody wants to be with the old man. To me, it's a compliment to the old man.
Yeah.
But making money out of it, do they really? It's really hard to make money out of this.
Well,
it's or the attempt, or I guess the attempt to make money.
Well, there's also a social currency attached to it, right? There's a social currency attached to being one of Ilustrisimo Tatang's guys, especially within such a small community as FMA.
Absolutely.
Right.
My take is, I don't care. Just don't cross my path. All right? Don't cross my path. Look, this is what I've Dean Franco. All right? For decades, there was a slagging match to destroy me, my reputation. All right? I won't name who, but Dean knows. I'm sure you had preconceived ideas about me, Dean. I'm not sure. Okay? But when you contacted me first, I was thinking,
yeah, I could tell you, and I'm not afraid to say it on here. I have nothing to hide. So what it was is I was very in the beginning. I started doing this. More names started coming in. Then with more names coming in and started getting popularity, people say, "Oh, well, watch out for that guy." Just volunteering names that I shouldn't interview. And so in the beginning, I'll be the first to admit I'm as naive as the best of them. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right, thank you, thank you for this, thank you, just being over polite. But then I got a little more savvy, a little more mature when I was doing, grew into it, a little more savvy, educated, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, man. I mean, come on now. So I basically said, look, you got to draw your own conclusion.
See, I give that to you. You kept an open mind. I've had students. And I've had them for like years. And I like my students to go to the source. So I encourage them to go to the Philippines. I encourage them to train with the masters. I had one guy, I encouraged him to go there. He went over there. He hung out with, I'm talking about early 80s. Okay, the early 80s Lynetta group. And then he comes back saying, you're a fraud, you're a liar, you're a fake. You've learned from me for 2 years. You've never complained. I introduced you to the main guys. And he come back saying, I'm a fake. And he's never forgiven me. It's like, that's what I don't like. That's when you cross my path. Do not cross my path. I will leave me alone. I leave you alone.
No, you know what?
Right?
But it's so true here. Like there is a stigma that's going on, and this kind of got brought up in the theme episodes, and meaning that like look at all these people that were under Ilustrisimo but are so reluctant to carry the Ilustrisimo name. They'll name it something else because they don't want to deal with the political fallout or like how dare you teach
That's
AI.
not you.
No, but
that's
Avenir,
my official business name is Floro Fighting Systems, Was Ilustrisimo. I took Was Ilustrisimo.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. I have a
remember when you got accredited as an instructor? Now a target went on your back.
No, I remember you said that when I got it. I remember, like, you know what's so funny when I absolutely remember saying that because I'm thinking like, wow, you know, he just went. There's more to that in him putting a smile. There's like, what does he mean by that? And then you know what? Not the first month, not the second month, third. Oh, then all of a sudden, man, like, so Dean's able to teach. Right? So
it's just the way it is.
I know. So, Paulo, what's your theory?
So my theory is that the spirit of Was Ilustrisimo, and by the way, I'm perfectly aware that some people are not going to listen to my opinion because it would be like, who am I? I never trained formally in KI. I never met Tatang Ilustrisimo. But here's my theory, and I hope that it stands on its own virtue. And maybe GM, you can chime in as to whether or not you think there's validity to this. Maybe I should just read this thing that I wrote because it's not that long and it gets to the point.
Yeah,
no, go ahead.
Is that okay?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
All right. And I'm going to give pauses in case you want to chime in partway through. It's not that long. It's maybe 3 paragraphs. Okay. So I wrote, it isn't a secret that Tatang taught using the Socratic method in that he allowed questions from his students to lead what was being taught. But he didn't so much answer the questions with words, but rather through his actions. So far, so good?
Correct.
Now here...
Yeah, correct. Because he spoke different dialects.
Right.
If he did answer like this, it's like 6 dialects in the one sentence, and you're like... just looking at them going,
right,
silent in your head.
So I continue to write. Now here's where it gets interesting. Because people see different things and they may record and recall these teachings differently, this might explain divergent thoughts within different KI factions that exist today. But there's something more interesting happening, because the actual spirit of KI, not the catalog of techniques, the spirit of KI is for the student to adapt the techniques and the tactics to specifically who they are and based on the evolving conditions of the engagement. And we see
exactly.
And we see this. I'm just reading word by word now. And we see this. We see this in Ray Floro's interpretation through FFS. We see this through Mang Yuli Romo and Bahad Zubu. We see it in Master Henry Espera through RRK. And these men, these 3 men and more and others have something in common. They all have a smaller but fiercely loyal and incredibly skilled student body. The hallmarks of KI are undeniable in their arts. But because it was an interpretation of KI and remaining loyal to the spirit of Tatang, they made it their own and thus called it something different. In my opinion,
I agree 100%. Agree 100%.
Thank you.
I took KI out of my name to avoid the politics.
Right.
That's
undeniably there.
However, when I teach, always KI, Tatang, Mang Romi, Mang Tony, Mang Yuli, Mang Ricketts. I took it out to avoid the politics.
But you know what bothers me about that, GM? Here's what bothers me about that. And it could be maybe I'm looking at it from a bullying aspect, and I just can't stand bullies. But I look at what Yuli did potlucks in Manila. I look what Bong Avenir did. I don't know the full story there. Wasn't there. I just know there was a name change. I look at like what you did, and maybe others I'm not aware of. And it seems like because there was this fear of like this one, because of this one entity was going to cause issues, and like, who are you to teach this? And you weren't. And to me, that's just, man, I have a real issue with that. I have just a real issue.
Me too. Me too. Absolutely. Me too. I abhor bullies, but that one bully was my master as well. What do you do?
No, I know. No, I understand why you did it. I'm not saying it was an easy decision, and I'm not saying it was one that you wanted to make.
No, I agree with you, but it's just so much easier just to do your own thing. And you know what? I'm happy with what I know. Whatever people say, I know what I know. I know what I did.
I just wonder if it's going to keep going. You know what I mean?
Well,
I look at Burton. Like Burton, here's the thing. When you look at Burton move, are you seeing pure KI? No. And I'm not being disrespectful for saying that. However, though, when I look at what Burton gave me and what he gives students about finding the gaps before, during, after, find the opening, like in there.
The principles, the concepts.
Exactly.
That's
and he's kind of not wanting to come out yet. And I think could be part of it is because of the onslaught of everybody. And it just bothers me,
Yeah.
To
continue. A really nice guy. I mean, he doesn't do anything that will upset people. He's just a nice guy,
Yeah, no argument.
You gotta have a bit of mongrel in you.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Paulo.
You guys cut me off right at the most important line.
I'm sorry.
No, so I mentioned UGM, Floro, and FFS, and just to recap.
Yeah.
And I ended with what you had in common: smaller, fiercely loyal, incredibly skilled student body. The end line to that is that, in my opinion, these derivatives or KI are ironically the purest forms of KI. And folks who make claims of being the purest or, the original, or those who loosely claim to have had training with Tatang and have the photos to prove it.
Yeah.
Those folks, in my opinion, have to make these claims because they haven't developed themselves enough through the practice of the spirit of KI to have evolved it into something uniquely their own. In other words, lacking the verifiable validity themselves, their only course of action is to claim their affiliation as their only currency for validation. And these are the folks who are the most insulted. These are the folks who are the most insulted by such claims that Tatang was hard to learn from, because they haven't actually put in the time with Tatang to feel the truth of that sentence. And in a desperate attempt of claiming to want to preserve his legacy and to protect it from being tainted, what they're actually doing is trying to hide that their connection to Tatang hangs by a tiny little fragile thread, and they can't afford for that thread to be cut, because then who'd want to train with them? Who'd want to pay for
their significance or their worth? I guess it goes out the window, right?
I end it with this. It seems to me that someone like Mang Romeo Macapagal is the true and one of the purest preservationists of KI, demonstrably and verifiably and undoubtedly concerned with preserving it. Whether or not it earns him money, it's inconsequential. And for what I've heard from trusted sources, money is not a motivator for Mang Romy. And he is perhaps he is in the best position and perhaps the only one. If anyone were to be upset at me for asking these questions, it would be him, because he is the one who is best equipped to make claims of wanting to preserve the legacy of KI in its purest forms. The other luminaries, right? You, GM Floro, Mang Yuli Romo, I account Henry Espera in there. They have created something uniquely their own and in the true spirit of KI. So this is where I'm coming from. And this is why these folks, I call them crybabies, and I think they get upset because when a statement is made like it's hard to learn from Tatang, and they go off on these divergent courses, trying to prove how amazing of a teacher Tatang was. It's because they never actually put in like the work that you guys put in and they didn't feel the struggle and the
agree,
pain.
because see, with the timeline, I can't see how they would have learned directly from the old man for any length of time. It's like, it doesn't work out.
Anyway, I rest my case. I mean, at the end of the day, I love KI. From what little I know, but I love KI, and I study the derivatives of KI more than I study the original, because I can't study the original. I can't. There's no way for me to. So I study the spirit of it. I listen to what you say before, during, and after, offsetting speed and timing and trajectories, playing this mental chess game, adapting in fight to the evolving conditions of the fight. That's the spirit of KI, and some people will say, I don't know KI, but I don't know the catalog of techniques, but I smack PTK guys all day long with my lutang and retirada and bagsak, and I listen intently to you, and I listen intently to GM Yuli Romo and Master Henry Espera, and I make those things my own, and I pressurize them under fights against all sorts of people. So if that's not the spirit of KI, I don't know what is, because that to me seems like what it's about.
If that's what it should be about,
but what it's turning into right away.
What it's turning into is not.
It's
turning into a mid-range feeding game and demonstration. It's not. The two governing principles, in my opinion, should be the measure, univagata, doing what you have to do to deal with the threat, and finding the gap in that split second, praction. I mean, to me, those are the two governing principles. Whether you're doing a hanging step and you're dropping a number 12, whether you forete out and you came back with a throw, I mean, whatever. But those should be. Who was
it that said time measure without timing is useless? I think it might have been you. Measure without timing is useless. And I thought that was the most profound.
And vice versa. Timing without measure is useless.
Who said that?
It goes hand in hand.
Yeah. I suppose that there's also truth in that. Yeah, for sure. But it's the KI it's amazing. I mean,
but you don't get it straight away. I've had students who've been like, they'll take a lesson once a week with me or twice a week. 8 months later, I'm still telling them what to do, and then suddenly, like, the pin drops. It's like, oh, that's what and they're starting to execute it, inspired. Even though I tell them every time, it gets in their head, but it doesn't get into their system. And then one day they wake up and it's like, yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And just because they get it doesn't mean they can always pull it off each time, Like, the moment matters. Who I'm fighting matters. Their skill level matters.
Sometimes it just doesn't sink in. You can tell them exactly word for word, moment by moment, inch by inch, but they don't get it. But there will come a time when they will get it. You don't know when, but the pin will drop, and suddenly they've got that distance thing happening. Oh, they've got that timing happening. They can get this engaño happening, and they don't look back. It's like they'll learn, then they'll plateau for a long time. Then they'll learn again. Then they'll plateau for a long time. The thing is not to give up. Yeah, sometimes people give up just before they're gonna shoot up again.
Yeah.
They think, I'm not getting it. You will.
GM Ray, would you agree to this? Like, and again, just being in front of different people from the different factions and trying to just take all in their style, their methodology, what they advocate based on experience. But the end result from all these guys, the ones that I chose to really that kind of who I wanted and agree with my philosophy was that, man, you got to get in there and you got to experience failures. You got to get in there. You got to find your measure. You got to find the gaps. You got to find it. And it's true.
And the only way to do that is through sparring. 100%. You can't do it with drills.
No, that's my point. Right. But what I'm saying is, though, and I totally agree with you. What I'm saying is, though, that is not the norm now.
Sorry, you froze on me.
I froze or you froze?
Sorry, could you say that again? You froze on me.
No, I'm saying, but I totally agree with you. What you're saying, that you have to go through sparring if you really want to incorporate what KI is. But when we do see some of the sparring,
Yes.
and then Billy, and I'm a little reluctant to say this because I still to this day hold myself accountable to stuff to work on, and I have a plateau very high, and things my goals. But what I'm seeing is what you mentioned. I'm seeing just sloppy double kills. I mean, just gaps and and all that. So
Yeah,
that tells me
double
they're
kills.
not
That's the first
doing.
thing I try to. That's what I try to get rid of. Double kills. You're dead. You're dead.
It's hard to avoid, though. Honestly, double kills is hard to avoid.
It can't. But I'm not
You
saying
need you need a good defensive game. Yeah, if you don't have a good defensive game, you will double kill all the time.
Yeah.
The problem is, especially beginners, they just want to get their shot in.
Yeah.
Like as fast as they can.
Yeah.
I'll take my broken collarbone.
Right.
I'll cave your head in. The thing is,
Jim, there's also the case that
there's no way to
I
do.
think there's also the case that when you're sparring people of equally higher caliber, even if you have a good defensive game, there's just like a stalemate, that a tactical stalemate that happens where.
This is where Ilustrisimo comes in. See, Ilustrisimo, the system sets you up. It's not offensive. It's not defensive. I'm constantly setting you up. I'm constantly thinking, okay, I'll make you think left side. I'll make you think left side. I'll make you think side. Then once you think left side, your right side's open.
So let me ask you this then.
An attack on the right.
What happens when two highly skilled KI fighters fight each other?
Agaños.
Yeah, but they both have access to Ngannou.
They both have access to the one who's got the biggest.
GM, I'll let you answer it. What happens when two equally high-level skilled KI fighters square off against each other?
Okay, it becomes chess. Chess done in a second.
Okay.
You are vying for position. It's acting. I am going to deceive you. I need to act so well that you think I'm going to attack. And if you do kind of flinch or falter a little bit, that's where my gap is.
Okay, but they're going to know that. They have the same.
They know. So what you do is, I know you know. So what I'm going to do is, I am going to continue my attack.
Right.
Not knowing that you will block that, knowing that you will counter that. I know that. So then I will counter your counter. And when I counter, I'm countering. So counter is going to be an Ngannou.
This is the beautiful thing about sparring matches that people with an uneducated lens don't get to appreciate, because they just want to see like bang, bang, bang. Whenever I see two people who are not even hitting each other, they're just measuring, slight feints, gaining inches by like hiding footwork. For me, that's beautiful. For me, that
and I know that. I know you want to counter. So okay, I'm going to feed you a really wide, clumsy strike. You go, oh, he's fallen for my bait. That when you counter, no, you've fallen for my bait.
I'm going to go to Australia.
The thing is, I know you're good. So once I counter the second time and I'm attacking, I know you're going to block that. So I'm going to ban to your hole.
But GM Ray, but ultimately it's coming to Ngannou.
Yes.
Yeah, but you both have Ngannou. Ngannou just means deception.
Ngannou.
So what happens when two people who are deceptive?
Like you said, I set you up this big strike, boom, and then I cut it back. I get you to block it. On your block, I hit you when you're coming to block. But it's all on the Ngannou.
Ngannou means deception.
What happens if you're both at the same level and you're really good? No one's each other.
Nothing. Yeah.
It's all misses.
Right. Or double kills.
They do happen. Much to your point, Paulo. They do happen.
It's beautiful.
They shouldn't happen with skills. They shouldn't happen a lot with skill KI guys. Not what I'm seeing in a lot of the sparring vids that's going on. There should be nowhere to that.
But
see, the thing is, here, I've always got to exit. Whatever I execute, I have got an abort. Okay. Whatever I come, as soon as I come in, if it's a bit dodgy, I abort. I'm going
to corrupt your retreat. See, a good KI player would know that, and then upon your retreat, upon your act of aborting, will attack. And so this is high level. This is really a high level principle.
Yeah, I know that. But as you attack, I'm going to pivot out of the way.
You know,
reposition.
I think I'm just gonna have to go to Australia, and we're gonna have the most beautiful.
You got it.
Sparring matches.
You got to.
My brother.
You got to.
I know.
The other thing is we just don't spar. Okay, this is my progression.
Yes.
I teach you bug suck. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now let's spar. All you're allowed to do is a bug suck.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now one guy's too aggressive. All they do is they keep charging in. Okay. Fine. I'm going to put a pole in between. You're not a pole. So the guy who's timid and defenses can kind of get breathing space because the really advanced guy is not allowed to cross this pole. So then you're sparring at proper distance. And this timid guy over here can take his time over here, and this guy's biting at the bit trying to get through, but he's not allowed through. Hence, you start getting the thing of distance. After that, instead of there, a person can cross 1 foot. See, you can go ahead and cross 1 foot sparring. That way, even a complete beginner can be safe and inch his way into distance and still do this, you see. Now, if I've got 2 complete beginners, the both of them will spar me. So as I'm hitting one, the other guy can do a cheap shot. But the thing is, I teach them timing.
Yeah.
Timing.
Yeah.
Timing.
No, it's beautiful.
And then we add on, okay, let's do a bug suck. You can do, a circular or a bug suck, a roof block. So you're sparring, but isolated sparring. You've just got one technique, and you've got to master that technique.
Imagine that isolating
bug suck,
sparring.
but you can engage this way, that way. Everybody knows what you're doing, but I tell you what.
Wondering
if I do it convincingly, you're gonna fall for it.
Here, just hold on, guys. Excuse me. Baste, nobody's wondering why my comment and Laurent Matthews are both hidden. I'm seeing all your comments right here. So
yeah, I can see them too.
You also sent them in a few times in a row. So, but nothing's being hidden. I can guarantee you that. So I'm not sure.
Answer that. Is that a question? Should we answer?
There's actually no. That was more or less just that was. He was just wondering. I can see him. Yeah, they're there. Here, I have a question for you, Jim. Why? So everything you're mentioning obviously is music. It's music to our ears, and obviously we're highly resonates with us. But why is it when I see you and I see your vids, I have you on the show, I talk to Yuli, train with Yuli, I'm getting in a different verbiage, but kind of the same thing, different movements, but the same thing, same theme. But then I look at some of these others and they are just, they're not even doing or even attempting to do what you guys speak on, meaning, for example, David Gould, Yuli, Burton, and GM Romeo. Like, what happened? Like, where did it disconnect? I mean, do you know? You might not know. I'm just saying, but do you know what could have happened? Was it a conscious choice that they chose to not do this?
No, I think the Ilustrisimo, I've tried to teach it in big groups. It's impossible. It's impossible.
So
it's only a one-on-one, one-on-two, one-on-three thing. Okay? Four at the max. See, there's the tribe where they're teaching lots of people. I think that's good. But the thing is, you have to change the way you teach. Teaching a large group, you can't. It's very hard to teach the same way.
So to dial in on
there
those,
needs to be a little bit more
on those sparring attributes and the governing principles with a larger group. And that makes sense. I could definitely see that. Like, you got 15 people in there, man. how the hell are you going over those
Yeah.
two governing
And
concepts?
kudos to them for doing that. I think it's fantastic that they do that, because it's spreading. The motion is there. All right. Beyond doubt, the motion is there. But what they're losing is the distancing and timing and the broken rhythm, which is the essence of Ilustrisimo. However, if you what they're teaching en masse and then focus on the distance, the timing, the isolated sparring, they'll get,
It could be really good. Oh, for good.
At least like my tribe. I don't think my tribe will ever grow. It doesn't bother me, but at least I've got a few quality people there, So.
No, it makes sense though. But I'm just happy to hear that it's not a bleak outlook. Like they could work towards that. You know what I mean? I think that's important.
Oh, absolutely.
For people to hear in that. That's weird. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, guys. We're all seeing all the comments coming in, so I don't know if Facebook is glitching on. I don't know, but definitely all the comments are coming through, and we're seeing them. So
yeah, we're just not reading them. GM Ray. I think so. I've studied so. In about 2 weeks, I'm going to start teaching classes at a local boxing gym that does Muay Thai as well. And yeah, I'm going to teach them KI, the spirit of KI. No, but I think
go for it.
I think there's a way. I think there's a way to scale the spirit of this, and I think it's difficult. I think it helps a lot if you have good assistant instructors. But I think
absolutely,
I think there's a way, but I totally get the optimally, this is a one-on-one thing or maybe a very small group, because it's hard to
I'll tell you why it's a one-on-one thing, because I cannot partner off two beginners and expect them to do the move.
Right.
When you're a beginner, I feed you in such a way that I get the technique I want out of you. Hence, because I know what I want to get out of you. Hence, I will feed it in such a way that it will force you to like that. Now, you get two beginners who's kind of feeding like this and feeding like that, and you're trying to do the technique. It's not going to work, because the technique is refined. The technique is refined. And if you've got a person who's feeding too wide, you can't get that alignment. You see.
But I think you can plant seed from two beginners to they're gonna be beginners. Right? Beginners are going to be beginners, right? But I think if you make the lessons sort of objective based, I think first of all, we never know how critical and how analytical the student is going to be as beginners, right? But I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and think, hey, listen, I'm going to, for example, I'm going to give you this technique. I'm going to give you technique A, beginner 1. Beginner 2, I'm going to give you technique B. And things are going to get messy and you guys are going to make mistakes. But I want you to find a way to be able to execute the technique that I've given you in such a way that A, B, C, D, in such a way that you hit and you can't hit back, that makes them believe that a different strike is coming. So you've kind of feed them the seeds of philosophically of what KI is or whatever system it may be, and allow them to make mistakes and understand that, they're beginners. It's not going to be perfect, right? Like they're going to struggle through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think I think it's possible. It's difficult, but I think it's possible. Yeah.
See, the way I teach, your first day with me, I say, do you have any neck injuries? He said, no. I said, put this helmet on, put the gloves on. All right. And then I stand, okay.
Day one?
Try to hit me. Okay. So,
you do this day one?
The reason I say that straight away is, number one, I gauge character straight away. Okay. You cannot hide your character when you're sparring. I want to know if you're a really nice guy, patient guy, or a real dick. If you're a real dick, that's your last lesson. All right. Now, I said, okay, you're too wide. Okay, try doing it with your elbow in. Okay, do it again. Okay, fine. Now, what do you want to do? You're leaning too far back. Lean forward. See, I do corrections now. I don't care whether they hold it in the right hand, left arm. I don't care if it's left foot forward, right foot forward. I don't care about that. I don't care how you're doing it. But there are certain principles like don't hold your stick back here. Make sure the point's forward. Don't hold your hand out here. Make sure your hand's back. How you do that or the level doesn't matter. Okay? But there are certain, that's a no-no. That's correct. That's a no-no. That's correct. Whether you stand this way or that way, I don't care. They all work. And they all have the same range. People think, oh, I've got left hand, right foot forward. I've got limited range. No, same range. Okay. I've got the right foot, left arm forward, left foot forward. Yeah, same range. Okay. It's just the way you execute. But if you're standing out with your hands out there, I will pull them back in or I will hit your hands until you pull it back in. Okay. So I do sparring, little corrections. That's
so, Jim, with your students, do you, if I'm understanding you correctly, you want it to be right. You're not looking for perfection. The refinement will come over course of time. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yes. That's the way. That is the way.
Okay.
To get, and that that's also very
all
efficient.
My students. Yeah, if you put all my students in the one room and spar them, every single one of them will move differently. Every single one of them move differently. But they've got the right principles.
As well as they should.
Like John Intervallo is probably one of my senior. He's the one that spars how I move. All right. Then I've got a guy called Ben Duong. Mate, he's everywhere. He dances around. He leaps. He's like Paulo. He runs across my garage wall. He does the matrix, but he is totally like he's really wide like this, but he's wide, but he never has his hands out here. He's wide in this sense. You notice my hands isn't forward. He looks. And he uses that for his engaño. And he's really all over the place. But he's effective. He's one of my effective.
Yeah, he's probably
I've got one.
Such a different look. You know what I mean?
I've got one like totally uncoordinated. I will show him a drill. He can't do it. He can't do anything. Wow. Gravity is. This is how he spars. He's just like this. And he just goes down. That one technique he knows. From here down, he cleans everyone up. He puts 2 or 3 shots into me really hard every session.
No,
because this one technique.
Unorthodox? Is it because he's so unorthodox? Huh?
He has mastered it to perfection. I'm happy with that.
Okay, we got.
I'm happy, and he's been in a few street encounters, and he's saved his bacon. So.
All right, hey, let me just get a couple.
Who's right? Who's wrong?
All right, I just want to get a couple comments, and then Paulo wants to share something. Matthew, that is correct. Amok does do some of those ideas, absolutely, in Amok. Yes, Kuya Raymond. Was a hard teacher, but obviously not the worst teacher given. He produced people like you and Henry Sparrow, as well as many others. And I don't think. I don't think you're saying he's a hard teacher, though,
if
right?
If was a bad teacher, how come he produced so many good discriminators?
That's my opening. 100%. 100%. Yep. Yeah. I mean, look at how many have been.
And how come? I mean, that style was in the 1800s. How come the style's still living now?
Yeah.
It started off in the 1800s. So.
No, it's.
Somebody's doing something right.
I don't think he's a bad teacher. I don't think that's.
Well, he really suited me. Yeah. See, the bottom line is, okay, here's the bottom line. However he taught, I didn't care how he taught. This was a guy who was the master of the blade. This was a guy that actually used the blade to fight. This was a guy who actually used the blade to save his life, to save the life of others. He's been there, done that. He did it again, done that.
And you're going to question his
Good enough
teaching.
for me.
That's what kills me. It's like,
I don't
when
care
you
if he's
describe, and you're going to say he was a bad teacher. Oh,
Okay, can I play devil's advocate?
please do.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I'm gonna give us a series of statements, right?
Okay.
So, and we can talk about basketball or we can talk about fighting, but not all great players make great coaches. True?
True.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
True.
Yeah, absolutely.
True.
I'm a shit businessman. I'm a great. I can spar,
Yeah.
but business,
Okay.
shit. And I've got a Bachelor of Business degree.
So statement one. Statement one is not all great fighters make great coaches. So we agree on that, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
You can't be everything.
Right. And so the second one is not all students are created equal. We agree on that.
Oh no, yeah, I can tell you that. I can tell you that.
Based on the guy you just described.
Okay. So the third statement is two people can observe the same event and interpret it differently.
Absolutely.
Yeah, look at your posts.
Okay. And so based on these three statements playing a major role, right? We can certainly reasonably say that in both respects, Tatang was a great teacher, but also maybe he was blessed with having great students. So when you say, if he was such a bad teacher, how come he produced so many great escrimadores? Because those escrimadores were great escrimadores in the making. And by virtue of luck, fortune, divine intervention, they found their way to Tatang.
You know, that's very reasonable.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what. If you,
I'm not saying he's good or bad.
day in, day out.
I'm just saying you guys are special.
Yeah, like Master Romy, Master Tony, Master Yuli, they hung out with the old man day in, day out, every day of the week, 7 days a week. The spirit of the guy has to rub off.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And like you're talking Was Ilustrisimo, talking fighting, you're talking strategy. Even having dinner or lunch over the table, stuff will transfer. You will absorb all that stuff. I see.
But
So
I mean, you could have somebody at that table who is a dummy, and they wouldn't get the same thing as you might have gotten at the same table. So,
absolutely,
what I'm saying is, you guys are special
like that.
Yeah, you guys are special too. You're okay. You're being humble. I get it. But look at how many people crossed paths with.
We were lucky. We were lucky.
That has something to do with it as well. I get that. But listen, a lot of people got opportunities to be with Tatang Ilustrisimo, and not everybody did and continues to do what you guys do. That's just a fact.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
That's just a fact.
It's true.
So here's the clip that I wanted to show. This is a very.
But I think some of them try to share the art.
Yeah, that's fine.
And the only way they could share the art to en masse was to tweak the art a little.
That's fine.
You know? The way the art is, it's very hard to share en masse. I love it when I see groups of people. You know, so let's take art. I love it when I see so many people in the park lined up and doing all these motions. It's like, how else do you get that experience? You know, and en masse, you see. Because it used to be like the very rare times I was in Lynette, we'd all be sitting around, then Tatang would get up with someone, they would kind of demonstrate it and we'd sort of talk about it. But now you see dozens of people lined up, going through. I kind of like that. It's not my way of teaching, but I like seeing that.
I can appreciate that. I just think and I don't know this for sure. It's just what I hear. So I want to make sure that's really understood. But I don't, if it doesn't go beyond that format, and then when you look at some results from sparring and all that, and much to what you alluded to, like there's a range, you know what I mean? And like you said, that's hard to be achieved with that mass amount of people. So I appreciate seeing a picture of like these guys in the park and all that. I agree with you. It resonates with me and all that. But then I see some of the other stuff that's not so resonating. And folks, I want you to understand, I hold myself to the highest accountability of working on things and refinement and all that. By no means am I saying I don't have my flaws, man. I 100% do. But when they're boasting, you know,
That's okay, man.
Oh yeah, okay. What they do and what they boast, two different things.
Is not a fact.
all right, so what we got here?
You know what? 200 kicked my ass in this fight, but I did, I think, what I feel to be a great, I don't know if that's a lutang or a retirada, but he's a very aggressive.
Yeah.
I often use KI to neutralize very aggressive Bikini Tertia fighters, you know, and it's how I'm able to. It's how I'm able to stand my ground against PTK guys. And this is, you know, again, 200 outclassed me. But partway through the fight, I was like, I'm not going to win this. He's my 200 PTK. You know, like I got to bring something different.
See, I'd say what you're doing there, you're stepping back too wide.
Yeah.
So, which means
you know why?
You kind of stuck out different.
Yeah. Look at the range this guy
All you need to do is rather than take one big step back, is take two medium steps back. Then you'll clobber him.
Right. Oh, well, I got him. This was my proudest, this is probably my proudest moment in all of sparring.
Classic.
Yeah.
Because he missed. I engañoed him by presenting my right leg. I did a lutang or a retirada, and then I did a bagsak right on his shoulder. And you know, again, 200
very satisfying.
Yeah, he beat the crap out of me. And this is the thing about sparring, right? Like we can have these moments. And shout out to 200 when I said, hey, can I upload this? He's like, yeah, for sure. And I'm like, you don't mind? Because I hit you a few times. And he's like, no,
that is awesome,
this is the truth. The truth.
Hey, my students hit me all the time. You know,
right?
My students hit me all the time.
Anyway, thank you for allowing me to share that.
Oh, no worries. We do got, okay, this is, all right.
I feel like, can I make another KI statement?
Let me just, all right.
Yeah, sure.
What's good?
This is my KI statement.
He was not a bad teacher. He was teaching the traditional way. If someone could not learn via the traditional method, then the easy solution is to find another teacher that could suit your needs. It is hard, but not necessarily mean that Tatang was the worst teacher.
Nobody said he was. Nobody really said that.
It's just a way of learning. That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just the way of learning.
I know, but more I'm thinking when I was getting water, I thought Paulo touched upon it. You know, that beginning core group, man, it could have been all the plans lined up. They could have just been including you, GM, right? It could have just been a special group of cats that.
Yeah, but how many dudes were there that weren't special? You don't remember them. You might not remember them.
I mean, you hear about Pedro Reyes and some of the other guys, GM Martin.
Here's the thing about that kind of teacher. They have a quality about them that filters the students that are incompatible with them. Because an incompatible student will just walk away.
I'm the same today. I actually reject more students than take. That's why I don't make money.
That's why I went to an interview today.
But does that make sense? There were
that's why I
went through that
real job.
They got filtered out.
But I just refuse. Look, when I wake up and I look at my calendar and I look lesson, I don't want to go, oh no, fuck, not him again. No, I don't want that. I want to open it. Look at the name going, oh, yeah, I like him. Okay.
Oh, that is funny.
I promised myself that.
And you know, some of the comments that I received from that alluded to that very same quality in in Tatang Ilustrisimo, that he would be more generous to the people that he believed to be worthy to receive his knowledge.
Mhm.
Is that
He was
accurate?
very generous. He was very generous to me.
Okay.
He was
Well, you put the
you know what?
blame-
They were all generous to me.
Nobody's putting. All right, hold on here. I just want to make sure this not get misconstrued here.
Don't worry about it.
If
Don't
the
worry about
student is incompatible, then the simple solution: find another that is compatible. Why put the blame on the other teacher and label him as a worse teacher? I don't think anybody's doing that.
it. No, this guy doesn't get it. This guy
No,
is
I don't think so. No, to
No.
me, okay, that was a statement. That was a statement to start a discussion. All right. Look, a lot of people said Bruce Lee was a crap instructor.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not. I don't. That's not
That's
what
what
they
they
meant.
said. Look, people say I'm a crap instructor, but I don't give a shit. I really don't.
Yeah, you're
You know, if you think I'm a crap instructor, good on you. I'll
Yeah.
give you the number of the guy next door.
It's again. I mean, okay, let's be so the thing is, that post, it got a little bit emotional, it got a little bit heated, it got a little bit personal. And
Mate,
at the risk of
Filipinos, what do you expect?
The problem with Filipino martial arts is that there are too many Filipinos. Does anyone do you guys get that reference, Braveheart? The problem with Scotland is that there's too many Scots. The problem with FMA is that there's too many Filipinos. No, but Jim Ram.
I think for every person, there is an instructor that will suit them. I don't care what style, I don't care what method. For every person, there'll be an instructor that will suit
No,
them.
that's absolutely true.
Jim Floro, let me ask you a question. Why were you not offended
Sure.
by that post?
Because it's not true.
And you know that.
And I know the truth. I know the truth. I know the truth.
Yeah,
I know my truth.
Yeah.
Okay?
And who
I
is
know
this
my
guy?
truth. So whatever you say,
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, who's this guy?
whatever
Remember, I
you say,
posted
that's
an
fine,
anonymous. I posted someone's anonymous opinion. Let's not forget that. And your stance is absolutely correct because you know the truth. You don't need to.
So why you don't defend it? Right.
Yeah.
That is profound. I think that's profound.
a lot of people say I never learned from Ilustrisimo. All right, fine. That's your opinion.
Oh, the truth.
You weren't there, were you? Were you there? No, he wasn't. Oh, okay, fine.
Right.
All right. That's enough. That's enough proof for me that you're talking out of your ass.
Okay, well let me ask you another question. Because I do love KI, but I'm going to be who I am. I'm going to remain authentic to my journey. What advice do you have for me? Because I want it to live and I want it to grow. And I want people to understand the true essence of what it is. Like, what can I be doing better? Should I not be asking these provocative questions? Should I not be posting these? What can I do?
I can take any FM style, be it Doce Pares, Amok, Inosanto blend, and I can turn it into KI. Same movement, same drills, same drills,
Yeah.
but I can turn it into KI. How? Tighten it up, change the distance, vary the timing. Yeah, we used to do sombrado drills, but rather than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice I'm changing the time.
You're offsetting the timing.
I'm going to jerk.
It's so
So change it like 1. Oh, wait, here we go. 2. Oh, wait, here we go. Or sometimes 2, rather than hit here, I'll hit on the other side.
Why do you suppose
Then
not more people do that? I have a theory.
Too hard.
It's yeah, and it looks ugly.
And it doesn't look good.
They don't want to look bad.
People get hit.
It looks ugly.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
It's not flowy. It's not flashy.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, if you look at Tatang, see, the thing is, here we go. The way Tatang moves, there's an ugliness about it, but it's beautiful. I love the way he moves, the kind of stuttering. If English was a language, it'd be a stutter. You know, if you stop, start, it would be a start. It's not beautiful. It doesn't look good to me.
No, it looks good.
It's just efficient.
So can I?
You see?
Whenever I watch footage of Tatang Ilustrisimo, there's like this classic image that I just every time I see it, I'm like, and it's nothing. It's nothing. It's. But I see it and I'm like, holy crap! It's when he's just like this, and it's
It's
just his posture. It's
classic.
It's his uprightness, and maybe it's even what he's wearing.
Tall, erect.
I want to get striped trousers, man. I want to get those checkered trousers. I want to get that.
Oh man, that's so funny.
It swings. There is this like
it's so casual.
Yeah.
The thing is, Ilustrisimo, he's just so casual.
Oh my!
He's just, but the timing is there. You see, it wasn't labored. It wasn't labored. It doesn't matter what you feed. You know, you see these guys say, "Feed to me," and you go, "No, just eat now. You're not feeding right." Okay. To me in seminars, I say, "Feed to me," and go, "Oh, what angle? I don't know shit. Just any angle."
GM, I get to travel the world, right, and I get to spend time with impoverished people, middle class, and I also found myself in a conversation one time in a table with Brett Favre and a bunch of millionaires, and they were comparing what they paid for their G7 private jets, right? And I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere with this, right?
These guys, I know the type of person. Like I know.
But these guys, they have these conversations in private amongst themselves. They're not flaunting it. But some of these millionaires, they drive Honda Civics. They drive Subaru Outbacks. They don't need to flaunt their wealth. And when I see Tatang with his stick by his side, it's that kind of confidence that doesn't need to be like, look at me. That's what I see in that stance, in that upright stance. I see. That's what I see. It's a thing.
And I'll tell you what, if you showed that comment about Tatang to him, he wouldn't give a shit.
I know. Well, because
you just look at it.
Yeah,
because he knows what he knows.
But
when you know what you know, and you know that you know it, you don't need to prove it.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's why I disagree with that. I think guys like that, not a lot of people see them for who they are. So when somebody sees right through them, they give you a little, and it's not going to be anything big, but it's just like the tiniest bit of acknowledgement. I think because I've met people like
I would have loved to have seen him in his peak. Imagine him.
Can you imagine seeing him in his 40s or 50s? I got here.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what was he like? Was he a funny guy? Did he have a sense of humor? Did he like womanizing and drinking and womanizing? Did he like gambling? Did he have vices? Was he religious?
He was very religious. Like at certain times, done.
Well, you cut off.
Look at the same. No wonder he was blind.
Can you say that again? So he.
Remember, he's got anting. He's got all those incantations and stuff like that.
Did he drink? Was he a drinker? Did he gamble?
A lot of times when it's like, oh, it's 3:00, I need to go. He needs to go because he needs to pray and all that. You see. So. But the best experience with him was. You get a bottle of Johnny Walker, Black Label.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
He loves to drink, you see. The more he drinks, the more he loosens up and stories and techniques. And he said, oh, look, so come here, I'll show you. And he's showing you these techniques and he's drinking. And it's just flowing out, just flowing. And the way he moves, 40 years old. The thing is, there's a limit there where he gets a bit too much. He still flows. He's still talking, but his control starts going out the window. The guy feeding him starts to get hit.
Yo, did he have like a
And you're
favorite
talking
food?
Blades.
Like what did he like to eat? I mean, was he an eater? Did he enjoy food, or was it just like sustenance is sustenance? Like did he like going out and having barbecue?
I've got an Aussie wife, right? You know, blonde hair, like my skin. We went to Tonda once to visit the old man. She's probably the first female ever to visit, like Western female to visit his home in Tonda. Just cooking dried fish and rice.
I mean, but everybody. I mean, that's the.
So he offered to cook us, but I was just thinking.
Yeah, Ray, how old was he when you trained with him? Was he in his late 80s already? Early 80s? Mid 80s? How old was he?
I met him 86, so
mid 80s. So what's the earliest footage you've seen of him via video or whatever?
The one that Trooper had a camera all over the place, so he basically filmed. I've got to get those. I'm sure Brandon would have a copy of those.
No, he does. No,
so any video you see where it's a garden, that's my grandmother's place.
Yeah, I have that. I've seen a bunch of those. I've seen a bunch of Ricketts' house, but Brandon showed me a video, and it really stuck because of his age, but his movement was so different, and the acceleration and his transition, and it was. Yeah. He was in his 70s. I'm going to guess late 70s, but he was in his 70s. I believe this was circa early 80, or late 70 or something like that. Brendan unfortunately didn't have time, but he definitely was younger.
Hey, Norman Swanico, how do I know that name? He said
that's Master Norman in Canada. But his movement was, I mean, like from like what we people are used to seeing on YouTube today when he's doing the hanging step because of his twilight years. His movement was just it was, his transitions were, it was incredible just watching this. I was just wondering, you know, like if you had saw any of that footage that I referred to or in there.
No, I haven't. What was the set? Was it in the park or was it in Tupa's home?
It was outside.
Was it in Tupa's home or where was it?
Tupa was filming. Him and Diego were working together.
Right. My biggest set was, well, I didn't film enough. I didn't take enough photos. I was too focused learning. I just wanted to learn. I didn't care about photos. I didn't care about videos. I just wanted to learn, and specifically what he used for fighting. I didn't want to learn all the disarm. I didn't want to learn the double six. I eventually learned all of it. All right, but I just wanted to learn what he used when he fought. In Ganya. It was just all in Ganya.
All in Ganya.
It was all the bacon.
Yeah, I got a question. A dedicated student who is not an idiot, a dedicated student who is a critical thinker and who is disciplined and has integrity and has intelligence, who's willing to put in the work, how long would it take for you to train them up to be a fierce and formidable KI fighter? Minimum.
Does he have martial arts background?
He's got minimum? A tennis. He's got a tennis background. He played tennis.
Okay, so he's not unco. He can move.
He's organized and he knows how to swing an object, and he's agile and he's got good tracking ability. Just that guy.
Give me a month, 3 weeks. A month, 3 weeks.
Okay. I was speaking with somebody. Okay. A month to 3 weeks.
I mean, how hard is it to hit someone?
Oh.
You're like you're.
What did Ilustrisimo? What did GM say? 2 weeks. Give me somebody for 2 weeks, and did he quote that? Give me somebody for 2 weeks, and I'll make them into a fighter.
So somebody who is.
It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, for sure, it's possible. So somebody who works in the HR department, sits mostly all day, played elementary school volleyball, but really let themselves go. How long until you
Like
can make
this. Like that.
Come on, are we comparing?
Like this. Yeah, nice.
Okay, let's just say average Joe. Average.
If he's not uncoordinated, same. Okay, same. You don't need fitness. It's seconds.
Yeah. Okay.
We're
So
talking
now,
blades. Okay, we're not talking stick.
so now so you take 3 weeks to a month, and you build him up to be a formidable KI fighter. How much would he need to train to be able to maintain, or to at least mitigate, the natural process of degradation of skill set? How much more would he have to train? Once a week?
Nothing.
Keep it up?
I've had students. I have students because of the weather. They leave for a different state. I then see them 10 years. Okay, 10 years. And they want to start again. They've never practiced. In those 10 years, they haven't practiced. Takes them about 10, 15 minutes to get the distance and timing. And it's as if he just had a lesson last week.
That's awesome.
Hey, you shouldn't be saying these things.
The retention is amazing. The retention, I mean, you don't need much retention if you just
that's not what you should
It's not
be saying.
BJJ. All right, it's not BJJ, right? It's not BJJ.
No, Floro, you should
go.
be saying they need weekly
comment
private
from
lessons with you, and that it takes
Norman.
15 years. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Got a comment from here. When Tatang
It
started
doesn't take
teaching
that long.
Loretta,
It doesn't take that long.
his background in FMA, he would spar and really hit you, experiencing being hit several times. This was how the student learned during the early days. This is from Maestro Norman.
That's how I learned today. You guys know my story, right? Like,
No, exactly.
the reason I took FMA was because I just jumped into a fight, and I was like, I hit him, but
It's the best way to learn. It's the best way to learn. It's the best way to learn. But then you correct them. You're just like, okay, like, you know, your arm is swinging too far. Just refine that. Too much. Yes, try that. Try leaning in. You're leaning back too much. So it's sparring, but you're slowly molding them to what you want. See?
GM, you have an online. I want to do my thing. You have an online program. What's your website?
Yep. Courses.rayfloro.net.
.net.
Okay, so I've seen them.
Like, you know,
they're jam-packed with information.
Courses.rayfloro.net.
Yeah, they're not filmed particularly.
What I did, I've got Essential Was Ilustrisimo there. Essential Was Ilustrisimo 1 or 2. I've taken the whole system and I've summarized it into like 7. Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
So
I have it, Paulo. It's good stuff.
But you can't. Okay, so somebody buys that online course. Okay, what's the best way to train it?
Find a partner.
Boom.
And do the thing slowly. I'll tell you what. A guy in the US called G Choi. Like, for years, he learned from my videos. That's all he did. All he had was videos.
Yeah.
Then he contacted me saying, "Can I learn from you?" I said, "Yeah, all right, fly over." He flew over for about a week. And there's videos of him getting beaten up.
Yeah.
And 5 intensive days. We took it like, sorry?
He lives in the States, G?
Like
Yeah, he sounds familiar.
Yeah, G Choi. He's a USA. Yeah,
okay.
Okay. And he's actively my stuff now. And from what he learned from the videos was amazing. All I had to do was tweak him a bit.
Yeah.
He had the foundation. What he missed was the distancing and timing. Yeah. And what really surprised him was the speed and how things were executed. Okay.
And isn't this so much like learning from Tatang as well, right? Like, you need to put in the work.
Yeah.
Not everybody learns the same way.
Yeah.
You need a training partner. But I think
absolutely.
Yeah.
You need a training partner. You really do need it. And a training partner that will cooperate. I know it's sparring, but not jump in there, boots and all, like, you know, like.
Yeah, I have a term I like to use. It's collaborative, not consensual. You know, like you're looking to make each other better, but it's not choreographed. It's collaborative. We're collaborating. We're trying to make each other better, but it's not. I'm not giving you consent to hit me. Yeah.
So
until you get the timing and the distance, then you spar it.
Folks, get that.
See? If it goes balls up, well, go back a step. Let's just try to get this.
Yeah, right. I highly recommend it. GM, one more time. That website is
courses, COURSE, courses.rayfloro.net. Thank you. Look, I've got a guy I'm teaching in France. His name is Alberto. I've never met him. He's bought all my videos. I tell you what, he has lessons every week. He films his sparring, and he's got this partner. They're doing really well.
Yeah. Hey, find a sparring partner. Anyone listening to this, find a sparring partner. Split the cost. Get these friggin' videos. Which one would you recommend for an introductory?
Essential Illustrissimo 1 and 2. Essential Illustrissimo 1 and 2.
If somebody were to put in the work
now,
without your guidance, how long?
Now, if you want knife, the quintessential knife. Quintessential if you want knife.
Okay. How long would it take?
It's all the same.
How long would it take two people to watch this video without your guidance? But if they were willing to put in the work, how long might it take them? How long should it? Because you know what, GM, a lot of people buy videos and they just watch the videos and they don't friggin' train. If you were to give us guidance,
couple months.
Okay.
Yeah, couple months. If you really follow it, couple months.
That's what I figured.
I got the question.
What Illustrisso gave me was the spirit of Illustrissimo, the concept of Illustrissimo, the philosophy of Illustrissimo. You know, the techniques are found in any FMA art. I mean, how many ways can you freaking swing a stick? It's in every FMA art. It's the attitude, how you swing the stick. It's the attitude of how you defend. Like me, I don't do a roof block up here. I don't do that. My roof block that's my roof block. That's it. It doesn't go higher than that. I don't do that because it opens me up here. I do that. And people say, but it will slide down. It never slides down to your hands. It never does.
To the sword.
All right? If it comes over here, I do this. See, no, I don't even move my body. If it goes the other side, I turn my body. I don't do this. But you do this, you're going to fall for my engaño.
Yeah.
But can you use that as an entry? Can you use that structure as a charging entry?
This? Shit, yeah. But I reinforce it.
He's from Washington. Okay.
I don't do that. You do that, these things get hit.
So we're fighting.
This collapses. I do that.
And I want to charge.
Now I charge in. By now, there will be 1 or 2, 3 seconds pause where you're going to bind. He's still going to try to push it. And what I do is I just turn the body. I don't check. There's a frigging blade up there. We bind. I just turn the body. Then I thrust. I bind. I turn this way. Then I thrust.
I have to try that. I'm talking about a crash.
Try it. Yeah. It works all the time. In fact, I even do the samurai standoff. I go here. I said, you fall trap.
You said you live in Detroit.
I'm skeptical. I gotta try it.
GM, I got a question for you.
You gotta try. Oh, here you go. G has chimed in.
Yeah. He's in Washington, not Detroit. He actually lives in Washington, not Detroit. But I got a question for you, Jim.
Oh, okay.
And if you can answer it. If you don't, I'll answer it. If Illustrissimo looking down, do you think he's happy? What are you seeing overall in KI?
Me? Is that a question for me?
Correct.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't. So you don't think like so if he's looking down, you don't think he would
He
care?
doesn't. He doesn't.
Explain.
care.
Okay, I need to know. Okay, why?
KI was for himself.
So he didn't care whether
KI
folks
was.
followed.
I'll be
it or
back.
not.
See, this. Okay, this I think is one of the weaknesses. This is I think was one of the weaknesses of Tatang and all the masters. They were really nice people. They
Okay.
weren't. Oh, you got to do it like this. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, throw him out. They were just nice people. And Tatang, when look, he gave me a certification and all that. But he doesn't really care. His attitude is, here's a certificate, I'll sign it. But you know what? In a real, that's when you really know.
So
that's when you really know.
You know what? And the reason why I'm asking you this because a story was told to me, and basically the story revolved around he was asking a couple guys. I'm not going to say their names to do something. And they weren't doing it. And finally, he was just like, okay, basically something to the effect like, it's your lives. You know what I mean? But like, he didn't get
exactly.
mad, but he was just like, okay, it's your lives. I know it works, but if you want to go do that, okay. Yeah.
That's him. That's him.
So looking down, he's just like, whatever.
He probably isn't even looking down. He's gone on to his other life, mate. He's probably now a rich rock star.
Either way, he wouldn't care.
He doesn't care.
Okay.
He doesn't care because, I mean, he would teach you. He wants you to do it right.
Correct.
But he will teach you if you want to be taught.
Got
But
it.
if you're one of these guys that, oh yeah, I got it now, and you're not got it, oh yeah. He's just gonna smile, turn away, and probably he won't teach you again.
I love this guy. I love you. I love Tatang. I love that you just answered that question in that way.
That's funny. Like he just wouldn't care.
That's what I honestly think.
Yeah.
Because he was so secure in what he knew, it didn't bother him.
No, that makes total sense.
You know who's the opposite of that?
Yeah.
I mean no disrespect because he is still living. Okay. GT, Grand 200 guy is the opposite of that. He would care. He would care, right? He would care about whatever. But I love.
That's why he's got a huge organization. Look at it. Huge organization.
It's true. PTK is it's a strange group of crazy, amazing, but the Grand Tuhan of Pete. But look, listen. Sometimes I'm misconstrued, right? Because I truly find myself being an observer, an outsider looking in, and I'm looking at these characters, and I'm looking at them as characters, right? I'm looking at the Tatang Ilustrisimo character, the archetypal stoic, just supremely confident, doesn't need to show it. And then the opposite of that would be somebody who's GT, who's like another kind of Filipino. He's the guy driving the Benz and want to make sure, and they all have their place, like they all have their place and they're all beautiful and they're all right. And I want to be able to speak of these people in this way, as which sometimes can be misconstrued as disrespect. I just think that it's a beautiful. I'm just gonna say it. It's a theater, It's a stage. Life is a stage, and these are some of the most colorful, amazing, inspirational characters on the stage, and I appreciate it. It's freaking amazing.
See, people say you're disrespectful to the old man, but look how you talk about the old man. I mean, that's not disrespect. You know what I'm saying?
Jim, I don't want to have to keep having to prove it because people like you get it, and there's a reason why folks like you, and I got messages from I'm not going to name names because they're not here and I don't know what their intentions might be. But I got so many messages of like, I get what you're saying. I'm not offended, and if anything, thank you for talking about KI. Because look, I Filipino martial arts changed my life, and again, quickly my story.
You love it. You absolutely love it.
I was plucked from my culture at the age of 9. My father passed away 10 years later, and it was very hard for me to anchor myself to my culture. But I'm also very blessed to have been detached from it so that I can observe it from an outsider's perspective, even though I am Filipino. And so I have this unique perspective where people sometimes need to work to see how much I love these people and their contributions. But I also have that side of me who is an outsider and can say these things. So, GM Floro, I appreciate that you see that. I want to say thank you also, because our relationship started from a disagreement, right?
It did. Just don't cross my path.
No, I get that. But
at the same sense, I didn't really understand who you were. I would, if I knew who you were and how you approached, I would have responded differently now.
Yeah.
Now that I know you, I know where you're at.
Right.
And that was the first time I ever saw you.
And so, listen. Okay. You made a comment on the podcast with Dean Franco and Tim yesterday.
Tim.
Right. Yes.
Hartman.
Oh, yes.
You made a comment. No, you made a comment along the lines.
The modern Anise guy.
Yeah. Modern Anise. What a crap system. Just kidding. No, I love modern Anise. But you made a comment, and I honestly was thinking about it. And you said you would rather keep your system small and maintain its integrity rather than making it big and compromise it.
I remember that.
Yep.
And I was thinking,
I would hate if my students started doing Hubad drills.
I love Hubad, but yeah, Hubad sucks because good Hubad's good, but bad Hubad is predominant. I was reflecting on that, and then I sent you that video, and I'm not sure if you watched it, but that video was an interview with myself and Sensei Ian Floresca, Mandala Ian Floresca, and he talked about the old origins of Filipino martial arts, where in the times where it was a family system, the mandate of the father was to preserve the knowledge of his father, pass it down to his son, and he didn't care if it spread and became big, because it served its purpose for his lifetime. And when he passed away, his job was done.
Yes.
And so there could literally be hundreds and thousands of family systems that died because that was the natural course of things, right? It served its purpose. And so I see this in you. You care about your students. You want them to be safer.
Absolutely.
Right?
I'll defend them tooth and nail, as they would defend me.
Yeah, I know that because they did. But I want to offer this as an alternate perspective, because I do think what you do is special. And I do think that there are very few threads to Tatang Ilustrisimo who are living today. And so my suggestion, just for consideration, is there might be some temporary compromises for the sake of growth. Temporary concessions that you can make to spread the art and your interpretation of it, but not your interpretation, but the fact that you lived and breathed the spirit of KI. And what I wrote was true. I believe that the derivatives of Tatang Ilustrisimo's original Ilustrisimo is ironically because a derivative is an offshoot of an original, right?
Yes.
I think the derivatives are the purest forms of KI because that's what Tatang wanted. He wanted you to make it your own.
Yep.
And so,
yeah,
however that manifests, right? And I think to some degree, an online course might be a type of, concession because that's not how it should be taught.
Yeah.
And yet it's a good way to spread the art. I think you can figure it out. I think,
Yes.
I think you're nowhere near the end of the road. And I think just be open to the idea that there could be an avenue for FFS to spread bigger than perhaps your ability to manage it.
G-Choi has proven you can learn it off videos. And so in France, you can learn it. It's not hard. It really isn't hard. It's not a hard system. It's just a very subtle system. That's all it is.
I have a partner. But hey, guys, it's getting close to midnight.
If you blink, you'll miss it.
I'm gonna have to bolt soon.
Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Yeah, no. All right, so
you can always do a part 2. It's up to everyone.
Oh no, I mean, yeah, it's not like the last time you're gonna be on this show. I mean, either of you. Closing thoughts, GM Ray.
Look, it's a big pond. All right, it's a big pond. There's plenty out there. So for little groups to start sniping at each other, what the hell for? Like you've got your interpretation, I've got mine. Okay, you're respecting the master. Man. I'm respecting the master. Great. That's great. Yeah, I'll respect the way you do things. And you know what? I really do because sometimes it's better than what I do. I know what I want out of the art. All right. And I'm going to get that. And that's it for me, you see. But for you to say one person is doing it wrong, one person isn't authentic, one person's, especially when they've actually learned from the Grandmaster. I mean, some of the comments that Grandmaster Romy gets is like, what the hell? The guy was with the Tata.
Like,
what the hell are you talking about?
No, it's terrible. And I hope
you are not an authority to say anything.
They're not.
To me,
absolutely.
Tom D, Yuli Romo, Romy Macapagal, they are the shit. They know their stuff.
And they're coming on
I don't care what you say.
Next week, the both of them. So
that would be really, really good.
That's going to be a show.
That would be the wealth of knowledge of Master Romy. And Master Yuli, if you get him to talk purely Illustrissimo.
I know. I did when I do the lessons with them. It's pure KI. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
You want to squeeze his brain.
Yeah. When I train with them, it's pure KI. And it's absolutely brilliant. And the way he moves for his age is even more.
He's a bit of a madman. That guy.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Yeah,
he's funny. He is funny. And the titles of his technique, laser stick.
He called me
when I first met him. He was just.
How can you not love GM Yuli? How could you not love GM Yuli? Right?
He called me one time and we talked for hours, and he was just like, he was showing all these tech. What a madman in a genius,
I know.
In a genius kind of way.
And sometimes he drifts off on another. Like I don't understand.
He's funny. He's so funny.
He is funny.
He is funny.
Yeah.
So
that will be an interview not to miss.
No, I would tend to agree. Paulo, closing thoughts for you?
I suppose my closing thought, if I can be a little bit self-serving, is that I want people to know that I'm playful with words, and my role in the Filipino martial arts, love it or hate it, right? I get criticized for being clickbaity and being sensationalist and being and exaggerating, all that stuff. I reluctantly fill that gap because I feel there's a need for it, and sometimes it's a tool to initiate meaningful conversation. And so I don't mind that I'm vilified for that, but for those who dig a little bit deeper and understand my intention, I write cryptic posts. I love philosophy, and in my own way, I want people to earn their understanding of who I am. And that comes easier for some people than others. If not, just enjoy the show. It's for FMA.
Oh, yeah,
I need to get to know you, Paulo.
Jealous of you.
I need to get to know you. Once I get to know you.
A lot of them are just envious. You know what I mean? Well, guys, I appreciate it. Hey, this worked out well tonight. I know we were going to do this tomorrow night, but
thank you.
We just we just did it.
Dean, you do something very special. So why don't you give us a last word? Because the fact that I'm sitting here with GM, and by the way, sorry for calling you Master Floro. I sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I call you Ray. But the fact that we have
call me Ray. It's easy to say Ray. It really is. It really is just to say Ray.
I have to say GM Ray.
I am nowhere near a GM. I have never used that title at all.
But Dean, again, people don't. Maybe I don't express my gratitude enough for what you do, what you could continue to do, and I know you're thinking about slowing down, which I think you should do. You shouldn't do this all the time. But I want to express my gratitude because this moment is special, right? Like, me and Ray, we talk in private, but the fact that people can hear this conversation might be significant to some people. So thank you. I just want to thank you and the community for listening in as well. Last words.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, this, I get, one of the things I'm starting to, I have to consider slowing down. I'm going to be having talks with Tom Pena. I'm not going to, by any means, just vacate suddenly. But I do want to slow down and pass some more on to Guru Tom because I have a couple things in the works. But no, I appreciate it. But it's shows like this, I got to be honest with you, that really make this worthwhile and time well spent. It is kind of these what I kind of called theme-oriented episodes where you're not really going over, journeys, personal journeys, start in their FMA career. I mean, I've done that with both of you guys already. So it's stuff like this where you can really tap into specific, topics or something that occurred on a wall of somebody, for instance. And I just love the flexibility of some folks that are really just willing to come on right away and for the capital off the momentum and not wait next week where it's going to die out and it's going to be kind of a forgotten thing, which kind of is what happened tonight with you guys. And so I just appreciate your guys' flexibility in doing it so quickly. And so that's
do you have a message for the KI community, Dean?
Yeah, I do. And it kind of is the same when I did the KI thing episodes is that I honestly believe that it behooves a student to check out everybody, and really experience their interpretation from Ilustrisimo, particularly the ones who got it directly from them. They're still alive. I mean, A, and B, the second generation, if you will. I think there's just so much more benefit if these guys would start working together. There has been attempts. I would just like to see that grow, and I would like to see the stupid bickering stop. I would like to see that not one entity has the best KI. That, to me, that's such an ignorant comment. Somebody said that. Well, I think Hero's got the best KI. And there was a bunch of people around, so I didn't say anything. But I'm going to be seeing this person again this weekend. And I don't know if I'm going to have the same attitude because to me, it's so ignorant, that
it is.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, I would just like to see those improvements in there.
Yeah. The best KI seems to be your KI.
No. I mean, look, you asked me a question last night. Who's my next? Who's the heir of FFF?
Who?
I have them. And I'll tell you this much, because
Wait, hold on. Who's the heir
every
of
single one
FFS?
of my students,
Not at all, G.
everyone.
Oh, everyone is the heir.
I tell you why. Everyone. I tell you why. Because each of my students, I impart a specific knowledge. This knowledge suits them. It's what makes their KIFFS works. Now, I've got instructors that, John Intervallo, Kevin Finn, I've got Ray Galea, Paul Veldman, Trent Rice, all over the place. Does any one person know everything? No. Maybe John Intervallo at this point in time, but still there's holes. But what will happen when I die? This is what I want to happen when I die. All of my guys get together and they share the piece of knowledge that they learn from me, and they share it with everyone. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. One person has this piece, another person has this piece, another person has this piece. And you know what? When they all get together, when they talk, they're going to get the entire FFF. And all of my students know they don't have all the pieces, but they know that the piece they have is really valuable to fit into that puzzle. Now, what happens if you've got Arnold's tribe, Master Rami's tribe, Master Lee's tribe, my tribe? We all get together and we actually share notes, which is what we used to do. This is what we used to do with the 5 masters. With Tatang there, we would have lunch, dinner, we would talk about it. I said, oh, I thought he meant this. No, he meant that. I said, oh, well, what about this? And we'd piece things together. You know what? There was no right or wrong. Everybody's experience was their piece of Tatang.
Very special time.
That's what FFS.
That's too bad.
All of my guys have a piece of the puzzle.
Can I ask one question?
And there's no puzzle. Yeah, sure.
In case one of the puzzle holders dies prematurely, what is the secret to finding the path of FFS?
You know what? It's all in my videos. It's all on videos.
It's there. Okay.
Because I actually create online videos for my instructors, just in case they forget things.
It's like a living will almost.
But remember, FFS is a study and research. When you start sparring and you get into a situation, then you solve it with principles. Oh, that must be it. It's not a technique. It's not a secret kata number 6. Okay, it's problem solving. It's opening up attacks. You know, when Master Rami was here, we hired a hall, and it was the first time all my students was in one. Okay, usually because private lessons, and you teach in not everybody got to the one roof. Anyway, we were running late, and I told John, look, just fake it, just do something. When we got there, every single one of them was in the middle of full contact sparring. How good is that? And just rather than sit down and wait, they actually put the gear on and started sparring round robin. And they included people who weren't FFS people. Yeah. Like people who weren't there. Oh, we're sparring, are we? And it was great. It was great. But, the other funny thing, though, is all my guys got together and they were talking about how they could beat me. It's like they were comparing notes. How do you set them up this way? How do you set them up?
We got to go to, it sounds like we got to go to Australia.
That's what I think FFS. When I die, get together, and I do not expect them to call it Floro Fighting Systems. It should be Rubio Fighting Systems. It should be Franco Fighting Systems.
Yes, sir.
Because why promote me? I'm dead. Promote yourself. You're the one.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Dean. This is a living document, from his own words.
Yeah,
doing something
think so.
Special. Thank you, Dean. And I don't want to keep up any more of your time, so I just want to.
No. But much to the point.
Thank you, guys.
It's these theme episodes really speak to me. It's talks like this, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. And you've been a part of a lot of them. You know that. So yeah, so safe to say, you guys will be back. anytime you guys want to find an interesting topic, we'll just look at Paulo's wall. We'll pick something. We'll find something there.
Yeah, we'll pick something.
We'll find something. I'm going to give it 3 days, and I'll find another topic to bring you guys back on.
Thank you guys.
Well
All
done.
right, you guys take care, man.
All right.
And thank you so much for doing this so
All right,
quickly.
thank you.
All right, be good.
Bye,
Good luck
everyone.
on the job.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks, Dean.
Bye.
Thanks. See ya.
Bye. And that wraps up 3-6. Oh my Lord, 373. Yeah, this was supposed to happen tomorrow night, but they reached out and said, "Hey, you know the test runs usually go pretty long. Why don't we just do the episode tonight?" And that's kind of what happened. So for folks who maybe didn't see that, I apologize. I'm hoping that I did post in FMA discussion that we were in fact going to go tonight. So I'm hoping folks saw that. But if not, it'll be on the channel. So thank you to those who tuned in. Upcoming episodes. Well, you heard it. Yuli Romo, GM Romeo. Who else? We got that PTK camp going on in Louisiana. Somebody called Coach Danny. That guy. We got him. That's going to be coming up soon. Belton Lubas, Panatukin, Empty Hand. That's gonna be kind of interesting, you know, the whole empty hand thing, like you know, the direct translation, the weapons. But to me, in my opinion, there's a consequence aspect there. You know, if I do a goonting on your arm, it doesn't mean that's a fight stopper, but that's a knife, right? Your arms. So that's gonna be kind of interesting. So I might be looking for somebody to join Tuan Belton on that, who's got some Panatukan background. Who else? Brian Canard's going to be coming on the Bowie knife soon. I just posted, Dog Brother Badger's coming on. That should be Badger. I'm looking forward to that. Nene Tortal. I can't believe I forgot that. Also be coming on. Yeah, so all this will be posted in FMA discussion. But all right, I'll see you guys hopefully soon.